And then I saw Zach Frazier from West Virginia, 6'2", 315, former high school wrestler, I believe 4-time heavyweight state champ. Okay. And you can tell. What I mean by that is wrestlers are different than every other high school athlete in the country. They just are. I don't know how to explain it. They can enjoy pain a little bit better or easier than everybody else. They understand leverage a lot better than everyone else. Their core strength is better than everyone else. Their ability to recover from bad position is better than everyone else. You know, we'd like to. I was a basketball player. A lot of football teams like to draft basketball players. Or wrestlers, they just have. There's just something different about them. They have that. We call it dad strength. They got dad strength in spades. So this guy is one of those dudes. Core strength is off the charts. He's always in good body position. He can recover leverage as well as anyone in the draft. He understands center of mass like a wrestler would, like a wrestler should. He's good on his redirects. He's great in small spaces. He's not, I think he runs a 5'2", projected 5'2". So he's not the explosive guy that Jackson Powers Johnson is, okay? But this guy moves and uses his leverage as well as any veteran in the National Football League. He's not as good as every veteran in the National Football League center, but I'm saying the way that he moves around, the way he uses leverage is elite, elite, elite. Can't teach it at this level. You have to live that life of a wrestler, I think. Really, really special player. Let's take a peek. So, first thing you notice, just balance, body position, and footwork. The guy is kind of always, you just imagine there's like an anchor dropping directly underneath him, like under the ground somewhere, and that's where his center of mass is. Like he's never getting just waylaid off the like the side rush. Good job here of just redirecting, stay square for as long as possible. You see him getting to the second level here. Stays on the angle. Linebacker gets all screwed up here, but you just see from a body position standpoint, entering into contact, staying on that track, not trying to square up and play and let the guy play over the top, doing everything that you're supposed to do. Linebacker makes the mistake. You just always see when they make these plays, you know, is the guy balanced and extended? Does he have his hands out and punching this guy and getting him away from his body? Or is he kind of riding him over the top and you know, number 30 in this case has his shoulder pads on his chest and able to reach out and extend on this running back. This guy does a really good job of getting because he's always in a balanced position, gets his hands out, extended, takes this with ease. Forget that yellow line. Just watch the game. We got the blue first. Linebacker coming second. He's looking, leans in to receive this. Shoulder pad to shoulder pad, and then immediately gets hands inside. You see that right hand wins. Immediately fights back to get square, get leverage. Quarterback escapes that way, obviously, but great job of receiving that T linebacker game. Don't watch the ball here. Sometimes, again, we miss things. We miss things when we just watch the football. So they run a little TT game, and they're going to run an RPO. I believe an RPO or an option. Center's going to step to his left. Man disappears. This is big time. Step, pop back immediately, attack the defensive tackle. There's a huge hole here. There's a huge hole if they want to run it. Quarterback ends up keeping this ball, but huge hole because he does a good job stepping back. Again, square position to the line of scrimmage. So when this guy wants to go around and try to maybe slingshot around the center, because the center is square to the line of scrimmage, he doesn't lean back into that guard, he doesn't turn his shoulders. This D tackle has nothing to attack. Just an easy pickup. Always has his hands inside. We see this not maybe as much as we used to, but just from an athletic standpoint, you like to see that they use a pop L or a pop R. I mean, they're going to pop the center out over the tackle. He's kind of the guy that's going to pick up the slot blitz. So if we're looking at a pop L call for right now, he's going to look at the center's going to look at the linebacker over the top of him to the slot. But he's going to pop out immediately, and the quarterback's going to be hot on the other side. So he ends up picking this up with no problem. Yeah, that's an athletic thing for a center to do, and not a lot of teams do it as much anymore. But it just shows you that and all the different ways that they have him pulling, shows you what an athlete he is and what a good kind of center of gravity he plays with. So the right guard doesn't do a good job here with his first step, and he's a little bit out of position. So he puts the center in a bad position from a combo standpoint. They want to kind of get in a trail look, and really there's a huge separation between where the right guard's kind of left hip is and where the center is. He overcomes this, which should be a tackle for loss, quite frankly, but he sinks back down. You see here, he really tries to stay and fight to get square, get that helmet across, and ends up burying this guy. Not a good play, but it is a good demonstration of what this kid is capable of, even if he's in a bad position. And then we see here defeating the bull rush. So they're going to bring both linebackers and try to isolate the center for the bull. And he just drops this guy, hands inside, drop down, shakes him just like Mike Flanagan used to do back in the 2000s, man. Really, really good stuff. So I love that kid. I think he's super talented. You know, overall, given where the Packers are, we talked about last week where the O-line room is, where they've been since, Steno left that room, became offensive coordinator now with Butkus. Which guy would I pick? I think I, probably made it obvious. I love what Zach Frazier brings to the table. You just don't see, when you watch his tape, you just don't see him struggling with anything. And I didn't watch the Senior Bowl tape, so maybe he did. I don't know if I take one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl as maybe seriously as some of these other guys do. But when I watch tape of them, and it's small sample size, fair enough. But the way guys move is the way guys move, regardless of who you're playing. Things don't change. Your process is your process, right? You have to fundamentally change something in this tape to make me think that he's going to struggle somewhere else. I just think he's a real talent. I think I have a couple listener questions if you guys want to. Thank you for sending these in. Let's see here. Full breakdown of Rasheed Walker from this past season. I don't have tape on it, but I think everybody's seen the same thing. Obviously, won the job early from Yosh. Why did he win the job? Well, he's a great mover. He's better in the run game than Yosh, measurably better. He also moves laterally very well. I think he has good footwork. You saw a little bit towards the middle of the season when they were kind of battling for position again, they're jockeying for that spot. Well, why is he losing out a little bit? Well, pass set was rough. He wasn't comfortable with his pass set. He opened up a little bit too early, too often. Wasn't really powerful with his hands. Didn't do a good job of sinking his hips. Later in the year, which you see when he started having a little bit more success, learning how to drop deep. The Bakhtiari does such a good job of getting out of the hole and settling and dropping deep, trying to stay square for as long as possible, and just forcing, really being able to sit on the bull because you're forcing the bull. We just call it running out of options from a defensive end standpoint. You really have nothing to do when you get to a certain point as far as distance from the line of scrimmage. If you've gotten into your rush, if your chop club rip's not there because the guy's sitting back or sitting square, or if you don't have an edge to attack, really you got a stutter bull, and that's about it. And I think he did a pretty good job towards the end of the year of just sitting back, being patient, and sitting on it and just waiting for that stutter bull, and did a good job of extending out. He's got a lot of work to do, and I think that leads to the second question. Is 69 that much of an upgrade over Walker where you make the sense to financial support? Yes. If he's healthy. I mean, if you thought there's a 100% chance that he's going to start the season healthy, and every indication that he can play the entire year, yes, he's worth it. And some people are going to say that's stupid because we won a certain amount of games. I think we're 8th in the league in points in offense. I said this to you last week. There are certain players in the National Football League that are a level above their peer group. And David Bakhtiari, when healthy, and he's demonstrated this in the last 2-3 years, when he plays, when he's on the field, he's the best player the Packers have, any position, offense or defense. It's not even close. So the difference that makes for the Packers offense for Matt LaFleur as a play caller, expands your playbook, allows you to run potentially deeper routes, allows you to use resources maybe on a different, double teaming a different player, allows you to run to that side of the football without any help. So it just allows a lot of things. Maybe gives a little bit more confidence to Jordan Love, knowing that he's really safe over there. So there's just so much that goes into that. You can't really put. I suppose you have to put a price on that. But when you're talking about the difference between player A and player B, when player A is a Hall of Famer, it's like and he's still playing. If you think he's still playing at a high level, you keep him as long as you can. And then the second part, does Ryan appear to be a legit starting right guard? Do you have an eye on someone in the draft? They're going to bring a bunch of guys in, or at least one serious contender for that position. I've said it before. I don't think John Ryan Jr. is going to be back. I think he's going to go try to find a starting position somewhere else. The writing's kind of on the wall there. When you start splitting time like you do, that means the coach thinks that you're probably not the guy. Sean Ryan's going to get his chance to start. If they brought it, I still think they don't have a stud on this. If Bakhtiari's not there, they don't have a stud on the team. There's not a guy where you point to and go, when we need a guy to step up and just start knocking heads and moving bodies and knocking people over piles and making people worried about getting embarrassed versus going to make our running back, a tackle on the running back. Like, I don't know who that guy is right now. I know that we have guys that could be that. I just don't know that they are that. So that personality might not be in that locker room right now. You might have to go find it. Jawan Foster on Mizzou, I can check out later. A couple questions from last week. The big thing is, do you like Fatano? Do you like Fatuano? Do you like Morgan? Why does the age matter? Listen, when it comes to age, I think it matters a little bit when you talk about the quarterback position. Like Bo Nix, if you're, what is it, an 8th-year senior, whatever. I know he's not that. But if you've been in the league, I think there's some good things. You see with Brock Purdy, you get a lot of reps. You come in, maybe you're a little bit more prepared. But when you're looking at like a left guard, left tackle, it's hard because that the ceiling physically is a lot smaller as it pertains to where he is right now than maybe a 21-year-old. Like when I was 21, I was nowhere near where I was when I was 26 or 27, but obviously at 24, I was a lot closer. But I think for me, the UW kid's footwork really separates him from the other guys we talked about last week. And that's not going to change. And the lifespan, when you're thinking about picking up somebody in the first couple of rounds, that's what those guys would be. The lifespan of that player for the Packers, as a fan, as a general manager, you're thinking 5 years. You're like, I got the guy for 5 years. We don't know what's going to happen after that. So at 29 years old, that guy's should be in his prime. So if you want to resign him at that point, then you got another 4 years. So you got him for 9 years. At 33, if you're saying that, hey, I get a guy for 9 years and he plays at a high level, maybe makes a couple of Pro Bowls, maybe he's an All-Pro guy, maybe he's just a glue player, but I got him for 9 years because I drafted him at 24 and I didn't get him for 12. Do I feel like I didn't get the value? I think you're a fool if you feel that way. So that's tough for me. I do understand the age thing. Certainly, I came when I was really young, but when you're really young, you got a lot to learn. And emotionally and some of that stuff, you're a little bit immature. At least I was. So, guys, thanks for watching. I think that'll do it for this week. Next week, I don't know. We might go to guards, might go some defensive stuff. I haven't really dissected that press conference because I've been over here. That was on, I think, with Hafley maybe on Monday. Interesting tidbits that came out of that, certainly. But I know the combine's this week. Who knows what scouts are even showing up anymore? I think McVay was that just said our coaches don't need to go this anymore because it really is just it's like a beer garden festival over at the combine, really more so than actually watching those players. I know that some teams do a great job of through the interview process. The medical process is so important, but you hear some of the questions that come out of there and some of these coaches, some of the things they ask, it's kind of embarrassing. So I think pro days make a lot more sense. I'm in Echo 68. Let's try it. This one may work. Yeah, a little bit. All right. Hey, subscribe, rate, review us on that Process to Perform page, guys. Thanks a lot.